We have a beautiful, blessed January 2024, as we have the opportunity to begin again whenever we see the first lunar crescent appear in the sky after sunset on the evening of January 12. So I am Tammy Antoinette. You can find me at thestarqueen.com. I'm an ancient sidereal astrologer, and I practice astrology as it was practiced in ancient Babylon, ancient Akkad, ancient Sumer, ancient Mesopotamia, Greece, and even Egypt. So I invite you to subscribe below so that you can hear more updates of how the actual real 3D sky in real time, as we see it with our own eyes, is influencing us here on Earth, which is completely different than modern Western astrology. So during the dark moon time, when the moon and the sun meet, they are deciding on the changes to come for the new incoming lunar cycle. We can feel a restless influence with the Mars conjunction of the sun and the moon in his last part of invisibility this month. Depending on your latitude, and I'll speak more into this as we go on, but January 11th is the exact sun-moon conjunction at 26 degrees Sagittarius with Mars, with Mercury, all in Sagittarius, in a harmonious trine to Uranus and Jupiter in the constellation of Aries, and in an opportunistic sextile to Saturn in Aquarius, and in a conflicting square to the nodal points of the moon, where the eclipses will occur and have occurred. So we can feel this restless influence during these dark days of the moon, but it's a time to rest and for reflection, for cleansing, for clearing out what we no longer need, for cleansing our bodies, for prayer, and for resetting, and for deep thinking about what we want to come into the next cycle, for planning. So it's not a time to take action on anything new until you actually see that first lunar crescent appear on the western horizon after sunset. And I expect this to happen January 12th. We will begin the new lunar cycle, and it will be, we should see the first lunar crescent at 18 degrees Capricorn with Pluto in a square to Jupiter and Uranus and Aries, and a sextile to Venus and Scorpio. So the sun-moon conjunction marks what's decided upon for the lunar cycle. And then when we see the first lunar crescent, this actually marks the beginning, the birth. So the beginning marks the whole, both. Okay, so the ancient Babylonian astrology would name this day one Shabbat. And this first lunar crescent shows up on the night of Mars and during the hour of Mars. And it is the 11th month of the solar lunar year. This translates into, like I said, this restless energy with these martial influences. Even though Mars is still invisible, we feel the drive to seriously forge ahead with our new endeavors. But the influence of Saturn and the influence of Capricorn says that we must first put the new and innovative systems and structures into place that will ground and measure our goals and our actions in the real world and in real time, so that we can have more freedom to partake in the incoming opportunities of growth and expansion that this communication with Jupiter and Uranus will bring. And Friday, with this new moon energy incoming, so January 12th, I am going to make an announcement, and this announcement has to do with a 12-week program that I'm launching. It is the Embodied Priestess Leadership Path, and it is a program that lasts for 12 weeks where I guide women through the art of Babylonian astrology in a very, very simple, embodied way. And these are women who are feeling, if you're a woman who's feeling overworked, unfulfilled, embody your innate gifts and passion and really simplify your life so that you can live a life of more fulfillment, joy, and success that is your birthright. So stay tuned for that in another video. I will speak more into that. So be sure you subscribe if you have not yet, and subscribe to my blog and my newsletter, and you'll be the first to hear about this. I will leave those links in the description below. So Mercury is visible most of this month for a longer than usual period as a morning star. When Mercury became visible on the tail of the Scorpion earlier this month, the beginning marks the whole. So this was when he was birthed into the sky, when we saw him. We also, at this time, saw some dark truths coming to light with the list made public of those involved in the Epstein scandal. The tale of Scorpio is the hermetic degrees of secrecy and disturbing truth. And yeah, this is the Mercury morning star Apollo who shines the light on this area and shines the light on this truth. And we are in a Mercury cycle of enlightenment through research, through teaching, through studying ancient knowledge, studying healing, homeopathy, finding the truth. We're fully supported in these things. And it also provides revealing and healing for finances, especially with Venus here in this area of the sky. Venus is in Scorpio right now, providing this combination of Mercury and Venus provides spiritual knowledge of higher truths with beautiful blessings of even artistry. So you can have epiphanies this month that will set you free of something that you've been suffering from. And this month, the astronomers are talking about a harmonious parade of planets all in a row on the southeastern evening sky. So they are talking about being able to see Mars in this parade too, but we can't really actually see Mars as he's still under the rays of the sun. But no matter, this parade in the sky of planets is bringing more joy and harmony. And on January 17th, Mercury will sextile Saturn for a third and final time since he scrubbed this area of the sky with his retrograde during the month of December. And this is his final pass, and it's creating a third and final opportunity to recheck, revise, to put things that you've been rechecking and revising into forward motion, an opportunity to check our thinking and communication by this may have caused a delay over the past month, or a reality shift in perspective, so that we could be free of what thinking or communication may have held us back last year. So January 17th, pay attention to where you have maybe felt stuck, as this is an opportunity to start moving forward from that after revising it during this time, moving forward, creating an opportunity for evolution through what you have learned already to make sure you're in alignment. Saturn asks you to be in alignment with integrity, responsibility, moral aptitude in your speaking, your research, your communications, your creations going forward. So January 19th, Venus will move into the degrees of Sagittarius, squaring Neptune. And the sun conjuncts Pluto in Capricorn, all on the same day. So we will feel more expansive with matters of the heart, with art, with money, and what brings pleasure, which is great after Venus was very sensitive traveling through Scorpio, and then She had to go through the alchemical water to fire in order to cross this boundary. However, with the square to Neptune, we need to be aware of any beautiful illusion that may be casting a spell of confusion for love, relationships, money, for women. So until January 24th, even though Venus is in the degrees of Sagittarius now, she still has to pass through the rest of the stinger of the Scorpion and the galactic center. So this can make this time still sensitive for all these Venusian matters, such as love, money, and what brings us pleasure. But with the Sun conjunct Pluto on the day on January 19th, on the day of the square between Venus and Neptune, on this day, the Sun also conjuncts Pluto. So any hidden obsessive, compulsive, or power imbalances, or any old psychological burdens that you thought you buried can come to light and be triggered. So be the observer on this day. Observe what comes up for you and what is being reflected back to you from others. But wait a few days at least before you act, and try not to react compulsively on these observations, because dark and powerful truths can be revealed, but there can still be some confusion around this. So it's best to wait. And anyone ruled by Venus during this time needs to continue to be more careful and not fall into any traps, any scandals. It's a good time to heal any deep trauma, for doing your shadow work, especially around relationships, around finances, around your values. January 26th, Mercury will conjunct Mars. So on this day, be extra careful while traveling, with your communications, and use your prayers and use your higher will to transform any thoughts or words that may be destructive to yourself or others, or that can feel like an attack. So you can completely transform your destructive thinking into more constructive and creative thinking. That Mars can do both, either or. You decide with your will, but you have to guard your mind and you have to take action. So January 29th, Mars will become visible in Sagittarius at my Texas latitude, but it will still be hidden till as late as May in some latitudes further away from the equator. When we see Mars again in the morning sky with Venus and Mercury, this is when I expect to see him. This begins a new 2-year cycle of Mars, and we will have more passion, more creative action, more will and drive available. This can become a more productive time, especially for men, for athletes, for business in general, and for the more pursuant, go-getting masculine energy. This will also become a more productive time for love relationships, and expansive communication in love and creativity, with Mars in this space of Sagittarius becoming visible. Now, of course, if you are in different latitudes, it's going to be different for you. And whenever I give a personal consultation, I take into account where you were born, of course, but also what latitude you currently live in, because this is what you're going to be experiencing now. And I do have, I still have my 2024 consultation, your year ahead, for planning your year ahead, available. I will leave that in the link below if you would like to book that reading with me. And if you have any questions also, please leave me a comment about that. And with the birth of a new Mars cycle, We'll see the waning gibbous moon. This is what I expect to see, the waning gibbous moon high in the sky on the throat chakra of Virgo. And so this can give us the drive and the energy to continue our work and endeavors this year. But we need to be careful of overexerting ourselves and causing burnout with this moon square to Mars. We can feel conflicted in matters of pure expression and communication if we don't pause, rest, and make sure we are honoring and protecting our purity, our potency, our power, maintaining our health, maintaining our own health. So it can be a busy cycle of travel, exploration, gaining higher knowledge, also with this area of Sagittarius being triggered. Mars can be very unpredictable, so I'm going to come on and give a future prediction, give more information about this new 2-year cycle ahead once I actually see him appear in the sky later this month. So be sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing. If you're also waiting to welcome his appearance, you'll want to get up before dawn when it's still dark and look closely at the eastern sky. He's unpredictable and he can bring surprises. So he can be pretty fast. Now you see him, now you don't. So you have to look closely, which I will be watching. And in my 2024 yearly prediction, I mentioned that we are entering the peak of solar cycle 25, which is the height of solar activity, which happens about every 11 years. So this begins late in January, early February. We will experience more solar flares, more seismic activity, and any events happening will feel more intense. They will intensify. It'll aggravate it. This can ignite extreme events financially, but good fertility of land and agriculture will balance out this intensity. So the sun is what it does is it brings the divine spark of inspiration, creativity, intensity to influence faster evolution. The sun is the king of the solar system, and this intensity is increased so that we create change. More births because of greater fertility will bring more evolutionary souls to the planet at this time. So it is a blessing, even though it can feel intense. The sun sends waves of higher consciousness and higher vibration so that we are ignited with the spiritual impulse of growth for humanity. And no one can dim the truth of the sun, no matter how hard they try. The intense heat and fire from the sun penetrates all illusions, all smoke, all mirrors. And yeah, so much love, joy, miracles, evolution, and remember, and God knows better.